And on the first topic for C for today's class. Yeah. Better? Then we won't be able to see the printout, the output. Okay, right, on the first topic will be called conditional statements in C. Okay, so the first question is, how do you give a comment in C? Who remembers from last class? You have to do 2 slashes. Very good. So the topic for today is conditional statements. And we will learn one conditional statement. Does anybody know what is it called? Basic conditional statement in any language?
If else conditional.
Yeah, it's if else, while is loops. Right now the topic for today will be if else. Okay, right now then the question is, if a value is bigger than, say, 15, you want to print something, or else you print something else. The question is, if the value is bigger than something, you'll print something, and if not, you'll print something else. So how do you start this problem? Let's take the value from the user. So input the value. How do I start this problem? Any ideas? I want to take a value from a user, and if it's bigger than 15, I want to say well done, bigger than 15. If not, you have to say try again or something like that. No, so you want to take it from a user. So step one is good. You want to create a variable. How do you create a variable? So you have to say int x. What is this doing? Creating the okay, then you want to ask the user to give a value. How will you do that? Yeah, but before that, you'll have to say something to enter the value. Let's say printf, enter the value of x. Does that make sense? How do you end a function in C?
Semicolon.
Semicolon. Make a note, you always end with a semicolon. Let me see if I'm recording. Okay, now if they enter the value, you want to save it somewhere. How do you save it somewhere? What is the function? Scan F. Open a bracket. Press it. It's hard to see. What?
Asking, I'm asking him who is that?
This guy. Can you?
Just little done. Thank you.
What do you do in scan F? What is the first thing you put? In double quotes, you say, if you're taking an integer, what is the identifier? Percentage D. And then put a comma and how do you save it in X? You have to say and X. So write this down for the people who are not here in the last class. Take notes for now, okay? You'll need the notes. Okay, yes or no so far? Any questions? And write down at this point, you start your if. So you say if and open a bracket. What do you want to test now? So you have to say in the bracket is X bigger than 15. So whatever the test is goes inside the bracket. Then open and close curly brackets like that. So after the normal brackets like these, open and close curly brackets. So if X is bigger than 15, what do you want to print? Say well done or something. So in here you say print F, double quotes, well done, something like this. Okay, then put an enter here. What if it is not bigger than 15? So then you have to say else. Open and close curly brackets like this. And again you say print F. So you try again. Let's understand the code. You define the variable. Then you ask the user to input the value. Then you save the value. And then you check if it's bigger than 15 or less than 15. Does the logic make sense? And this printf is not needed. And you always return 0. Any questions on this? So let's try and run it and check. If I click on run, then enter the value of x. What should I enter? Give me a number.
13.
30?
13.
13?
Yeah.
And if I press enter, what should be the output?
Right.
Is 13 bigger than 15?
No.
So the answer should be, let's see if I come here and press enter. Let's try again. Just put the next line thing, print things, and next line if needed. Does that make sense? So how many conditions are there for output here?
2 conditions.
2 conditions, right? But what if there are more than 2 conditions? What?
If else or.
Else if. So there's another condition which is called else if there is more than 2 conditions. Write down. So if there are more than 2 conditions in your problem, you have to say else if. And make a note, else if always comes between if and else. So in here between, you have to say else space if and open a bracket. And let's give a new condition here. You say let if x bigger than 10, and you say and x less than 12.
This is the other side. Slash n. This is the opposite.
Say it again.
The slash n should be opposite of slash.
This one is bigger than.
And slash n should be opposite one.
Oh yeah, that's right. This one should be this one. Okay, and same thing, open and close curly brackets. And let's write here, you're close, try again. That will be 13. Okay, so now if they enter, let's run this again and check what happens. If I run this, okay, what if I enter 11 now? What should be the output? So 11 is between 10 and, so it means this middle part will run. Now I press enter. Look at that, close, try again. Does it make sense? Else, if else, and if. Okay, let's do the next thing. This is the first topic for today. Second topic. Will be called loops. Second topic for today will be called loops. Okay, does anybody know what loops in any programming languages?
Yes,
What is the basic loop you must know? The for loop and the while loop. So let's learn the for loop in C. So it will be called the for loop. All right, this is how you start. You directly start with for and open a bracket. What do you understand by loops though? Can somebody explain? What do you understand by loops?
If you want to do same thing again and again, then you use it.
Right, so if you want to do something again and again as in a loop, you will have to use the for or while. Right now the problem here is print welcome 3 times. So you want to print welcome 3 times using the for loop. All right, 3 things inside for. The first thing is you declare the variable inside for. So you say int I equals, say start with 1. And put a semicolon. The second thing, how many times do you want the loop to run? So for that you say I less than or equal to 3. Put another semicolon. And the next one is the increment. So if it runs the first time, increment it by 1, then run the second time, increment it by 1. Can you do that using, anybody knows? Very good, I plus plus, write it down. And you open and close the bracket after that. And whatever you want to print goes in here. So print, I'll come to C. Does that make sense? Now if I run this, what should be the output? Welcome to C how many times? Let's see. Now how do I fix this? I want it in the next line. So you come here, backslash, and take notes for now. Okay, I'll give you time to practice. and run this. And look at that. Does that make sense? Okay, so help me out here. The next question is print all the values of I. The next question is use the for loop to print all the values of I. So you want to say the value of I is 1, the value of I is 2, the value of I is 3, and so on. Who wants to do this? Is the question clear? You want to print the value of I at each point. Yeah, how do you do that?
We just change the string to 5.
You just change the
Value of string to 5.
okay, change this to 5. So let's print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What else? I want here to say the value of I is 1, the value of I is 2, the value of I is 3, and so on. So what do I do? Somebody help me out. Or let's just change this printf. Anybody from last class? Come on, Jaydev. I want to print the value of I is 1, the value of I is 2.
We have to do this print D, then comma X, and the I value.
Yeah, let's see. So what do I do? Tell me. What do I type here?
Percentage D.
So you say the value of I first is percentage D, right? And then go after the double quotes, put a comma and an I. Can you see it? You have to say the value of I is percentage D backslash N, double quotes, comma I. Now if I run this, what should be the output? The value of I is 1, the value of I is 2, and so on. Look at that. Yes or no? Any questions here? Yeah.
What's the purpose of comma I?
So this is what tells the printf in C only that you want to print this value of I. The percentage D corresponds to the I.
Okay, so it's like just
It's telling you what to print.
which variable?
Which variable to print. Are any questions here? Okay, if no questions, then you answer the question. Reverse the order. So I want to say the value of I is 5, the value of I is 4, the value of I is 3, and so on.
Is equal to 5 and minus 1.
Very good. Listen. Get it? Listen. I want to reverse the order. I want to say the value of I is 5, the value of I is 4, and so on. So you start with the bigger value now. So over here you say 5. And instead of less than or equal to, you have to say more or equal to 1. And instead of plus plus, you have to do minus minus. And fingers crossed, let's see if it runs. So now if I run this, look at that. Are any questions, anyone? Or let's do one more. It should be called the while loop. Okay, write down for the while loop. You define the variable outside of it. So you say int I equals 1. And then you say while and open a bracket. We're doing the same thing. We're printing something. Say 5 times. Okay, what should I put inside while? How many times you want to run the operator? So you say I less than or equal to 5. And open and close curly brackets. So once again, you define the variable outside. Then give how many times it has to run inside while. And then the print command inside the while loop. We say double quotes, welcome to. And at the end, you do the increment. Write down this should be the structure of the while loop. Define the variable, put the while, how many times do you want it to run, and then the increment at the end. Yes or no? If I run this, what should be the output?
5 times welcome to.
Now, how do I make it in the next line? Backslash n, very good. And you run, and you get the output you need. Yeah.
What is the main difference in this?
What is the main difference in?
This loop. This one.
Some programs use the while loop because it runs faster.
What's the reason behind that?
I mean, that's how the coding does. That if you want to define variables outside, it runs faster. If you define a variable inside for, it can only be used in for loop. But if you want to use this somewhere else, then you can do that while doing the while as well. So this guy becomes like a global variable. But if you define a for loop variable, it's only for. That's the main thing. And sometimes that runs faster and this runs faster. Depends on how you use it. Okay, this was the easy part for today. Now a little bit difficult part. So this is new stuff which you may not have seen. Right now the next topic will be called system calls. System calls. If you remember, we did system calls last time. Can somebody look at the notes and tell me the definition of a system call? That's right, when the user mode becomes the kernel mode and gets permission to run a program. And I gave you some examples of system calls. What was the first one I gave you? Fork. Very good. So right on today we will learn the fork system call. Very important system calls for this class. And this is why we are learning C, to learn the system calls. So now write down what is the use of fork system call. Write down the fork system call is used. Does anyone know? Jaydev, what is the fork system call? Have you learned this? Okay, so write down, it's a new thing. The fork system call is used to create a separate duplicate process. So if a code is running and you want to make a separate duplicate process of it, the operating system uses fork. It is used to create a separate duplicate process. That means if a process is running and you want to do the same thing again, the system calls the fork function. Okay, now write down, before you do the fork function, you need a separate library on the top. You also have to do hashtag include
UNISTD.
Yeah, very good. So you have to do UNISTD.h. Yeah, well done. So write down, at least for this online tool, you will need the UNISTD.h library. Okay, also write down, if a process is running and when it creates a separate process, the main process is called the parent process. New process created is called, anyone? Child process. Very good, write it down. I'm going to stop recording. That'll be the first video.